Hey, good morning, team. It's Tuesday, November 5th. I'm Amy Corr, and I'm here with Kevin Van Eck right after a very successful expo, right?
It was incredible.
Oh, my God.
Yes.
One of our
You did a great job on stage.
You too. One of
Thank
our
you.
best yet, right?
Yes,
Yeah.
absolutely. It's hard to keep raising the bar, but we do.
I
Our
know.
team is amazing.
We try. Well, I feel like our topic today is a great follow-up to yesterday. We are going to be talking about 5 magic questions. That's right, 5 magic questions you should always be ready to ask to move the relationship further and get things going with people in your network. So on that note, let's grab our coffee. Mine is piping hot, and let's jump into the next episode of Coffee with Amy and Kevin.
Good morning, everybody. Good morning, Amy.
I have a lot of energy, even though yesterday was a long day and I still have my voice.
I know, we're still energized by yesterday. So if you were there, thank you so much for coming. Hopefully you had the same experience we did. Phil and Jones, you brought up.
Yeah.
Phil is always
Love
great.
him.
Talking about exactly what to say, which is the name of his book.
Yep.
But that's what we want to share today, is because no matter how much experience we have, sometimes we struggle to find the right thing to say. And sometimes we say things, of course, that we regret or didn't say the right way, but sometimes we don't say things as effectively as we could, meaning we don't draw out certain things like more information or something that gives us the ability to take action and provide value.
Yeah.
We ask closed questions versus open-ended questions that allow whoever we're conversing with to give us more information.
And I am going to be honest, I think a lot of times we don't really think about the questions we should be asking when they say them. And what does Phil say? You shouldn't be thinking about what to say right before you say it.
It's the worst time.
Right.
Yes.
So these are 5 great questions. And what I love about them is we are moving into party season, right? We have Thanksgiving upon us.
Yes.
The holidays right after that, but it's really holiday season where we are going to be going to parties, interacting, having an opportunity to get in front of our network and, being prepared and thinking through the conversations you might have ahead of time is going to allow you to be, way more effective, right? When you're engaging, Kevin, at holiday parties.
That's
be ready.
right.
You'll be ready.
That's right. And these are funny enough. We talked a couple weeks ago about doing real estate reviews.
Yes.
And with real estate reviews, these are the actionable questions you ask after you share what's going on in their market.
Yeah.
These will drive future action.
Because let's face it, at the end of the day, what do we want to know? Are they interested in doing something now or not? And if the answer is not, that's okay. We keep them on our list and we continue to engage. But we also hope that if they are not ready to do something, they see our professionalism, how we move things forward, and they might be prompted to say, we're not ready to do something, but Bob and Susie down the street, as a matter of fact, right? So you just don't know, by taking this action, asking these questions might just get you what you're looking for as far as opportunity.
Right.
So let's talk about what these
What's
5
number 1?
magic questions are. What are your long-term plans for your current home? Kevin, what are your long-term plans for your current home? And in asking this question, you might get the fact that they're not going anywhere for 5 to 10 years. Their current plan in the next 2 years, or their long-term plans actually, might be that we want to remodel the kitchen. We're thinking about putting on an addition, right? We need to replace the roof. Whatever it may be, it could be that they are going to be staying. But even still, even if they're thinking of remodeling or doing something, you still add value, right? That gives you the opportunity to say, hey, well, let's talk a little bit about that because I've got a phenomenal contractor who's really reasonable and I'm happy to provide their contact information, right? How are you providing value? But this question might also get that, actually, we were talking about this a couple of weeks ago and we're thinking that we might want to move in 2 years. The kids are getting older. They're not coming to the house as often. We're thinking maybe we should downsize and we're thinking about Florida. By asking that question, you're getting more information about what's happening or what they're thinking about, maybe not today or tomorrow, but in their plans in the future as it relates to their real estate.
That's right.
So that's question 1.
That's question 1. That's a great one. That's a great one. Question 2 then. It's, if you could wave your magic wand, which is a very special phrase from Ninja.
Yeah.
If you could wave your magic wand, where would you want to live? And this is a neat one too. When you know that someone's becoming an empty nester at a certain point, or if they say they only see themselves in the home for the next year, or even long term, you ask that question, where would you want to live? Wave your magic wand, and they say something like Hawaii, or they say something like Florida. what you have on your radar now is, well, you can also ask a follow-up question, which is why, because so you can learn why they're interested in Florida or Hawaii or whatever market they share. But now you can actually make a connection. This is where Ninja says you can make transactions happen. So in your network, whether it's through Christie's International Real Estate or another network, you have agents all over the globe, effectively, and you have access to other properties. So now you know that they're interested in Hawaii, they're interested in Florida. You can send them significant listings that you see pop up that might fit what they're looking for. And they may not take action right then, but you're providing something of value. You listened, you heard about their dreams and where they want to be. And there's a great story that Larry Kendall from Ninja tells. I don't want to retell his entire story, but it's about asking this question between him and his wife and them actually purchasing a property in Hawaii.
Yeah, because it was something he was interested in. When he asked her that, he found out she was interested in the same thing. And wham, there you go.
They created a timeline, and now he talks about how it's become central to their family, where it's a meeting point, where they really enjoy spending time together.
I love it. And then this next question is probably more of like a follow-up question as you're having a conversation about real estate, but it's, have you thought of doing something sooner rather than later? And I love this because it also, again, makes them stop and think, and it gives you an idea of what is their timeline. Because I will say that so many agents will ask some questions, but then they don't get to this next one, which is so important about when. And what I think happens is we don't ask that question. We then suddenly are out of contact with them for a couple of months, and then we find out they've done something with someone else who probably asked that question. So you need to understand, where are they at in this thought process? What is their sense of urgency? Because if they're really urgent and you miss that window, somebody else is going to take advantage of it. So being willing to say, is this sooner rather than later, and just having them think about it. And they might even say they're not sure, but even prompting that, they might walk away from that dinner party conversation and come back to you when you follow up with them or talk to them next and say, we were actually really thinking about that question, and it's actually much sooner than we thought. And then they can explain to you and allow, get further down the road with things because of that question. So I actually like that one.
Don't shy away from that.
Yeah.
Asking.
Be willing to ask.
Yep. And the fourth one, we're on number 4.
We are.
The fourth one is real estate part of your long-term wealth plan? So this is interesting. This is a great question to ask because we're always looking for ways that we can provide value as an advisor and leverage our expertise. And a lot of times when you talk about real estate as an investment, it's intimidating for some people. You have your primary residence, but they haven't necessarily thought about whether it's multifamily or rental properties or second homes, what that means and how easy it is to generate additional income, to build wealth through real estate ownership, whether it's on the appreciation or the revenue generation, income generation, whether it's passive or active. So you can be the resource that helps them build their wealth plan. And so you ask the question, is real estate a part of your long-term wealth plan? They say no, and you say, have you thought about it at all? What comes to mind when you think about it? They'll often share that it's intimidating, that they don't know what it takes to do so. And if you need a resource to learn more yourself, want to reference, we've talked about it a long time ago, but Bigger Pockets. They have a great podcast. They have great resources to be able to use where you can guide. Now, don't make decisions for consumers. Don't make sure that they utilize other resources, wealth managers, or their own financial people. Don't become something you're not. On the flip side, this could be an opportunity to provide value if you ask that question.
And for you to grow, as an agent, for you to grow and kind of, deepen what you do know, learning with a client. And I think actually people would be surprised. I think there are more people out there that are really interested in diversifying their portfolio of investments in real estate, and they just don't have somebody that asks this question. They don't know how to get started, so they don't do anything. So this could, I think my point here is I think there might be a lot more people that say, yes, we would love to have that be part of my wealth building plan, but we don't know how to get started. So I think it's a great question to ask. Agreed. And then the last is, what are your dreams for your children? And if you were to ask my daughter Molly, she already has her wealth building real estate plan all intact. It includes her parents, aka myself and my husband Pat, buying a 3-flat. She's going to be on the top floor. Izzy gets the middle, of course, because she's a second child, and we get the duplex down. She's already got it figured out.
At least you get the bigger unit.
I know on the main level, because we can't be doing stairs eventually at some point. That's all of her idea. Yes. But I do love asking this question because it is something that I do, again, think people think about, but they don't know how to get started or kind of what that next step is as it relates to, what they could be doing as it relates to their kids getting into real estate as an investment and as a long-term wealth building plan. Right. So I've actually talked to a lot of people that I know just kind of in my network, and we do talk about that. One idea that a lot of people have even talked about is as their kids are coming back from college and want to move into Chicago in the city. Right. Instead of renting something, parents are thinking, do we buy something, they rent it from us, and eventually we can sell it to them. And that becomes sort of their first piece of their portfolio.
Love it. Yep.
But again, until you ask that question, it's not going to prompt people to start thinking about it. So
that's right.
Yeah.
And you get to be the resource. If you ask the question, you are the resource, whether it's building the wealth plan and investment properties, whether it's helping their children, helping them realize their children's dreams, all of these things.
So great. And it's just beyond their personal residence. It's way into other avenues in growing that relationship. So these are great ones. We suggest that you try them. As Phil M. Jones says, it's always great to have a plan and know what to say. So hopefully you've got these 5 now in your back pocket as you move into the holidays. So on that note, make it a great Tuesday. We'll look forward to seeing you next week. But until then, remember, Kevin,
you got this.
That's right. You got this.